What up, Screen Fiends? I'm GB, and you're tuned in to Screenheads TV, where we like to discuss all the wonderful things appearing on your movie and your TV screens. In this episode, we're going to have another Star Wars discussion about some information that came out of Celebration. So this one's going to be about connections and how Lucasfilm and Disney are finding interesting ways, in my opinion, to put some connective tissue through their animated and their side stories, like Rogue One, so that it connects through with the trilogy franchise. So the bit of news that we got that had me, had the wheels turning in my head about this, was that the old man from Return of the Jedi, who's leading a rebel group or whatever, a bunch of rebel troopers, during the Battle of Endor. So it's Return of the Jedi during the Battle of Endor. There's like this old dude with a beard, and I think he's bald too. And he's got a bunch of rebels behind him, and they're joining in the fight. Now, throughout my life, I remember hearing mumblings here and there about who that character could possibly be, from Star Wars lore. It all escapes me now. It was also long ago, whatever, and it was always hearsay to me. It was never anything that I actually spoke to anyone about. I was a young kid, but I remember overhearing conversations about stuff like this. So now we've got confirmation that old man in Return of the Jedi is actually Commander Rex. I think he became Captain Rex from the Clone Wars animated series and from Rebels. Now, why I like this so much is because not only are they weaving connecting tissue through with the new movies they're making, like Rogue One. I'll get to that in a minute. But now they're finding stuff from the old movies that was never really, defined. Nobody knew who that old man was. He never had a name or anything like that. So, at least not to my knowledge. And I believe that there was concept art that he was a clone trooper or he was a stormtrooper at some point. I believe they said something like that too. Or at least when they made Captain Rex, there was some sort of concept art, putting Commander Rex as that character, something like that. Go back and watch the Star Wars animated panel, and you'll hear Dave Filoni talk about it. I just watched it yesterday too, again, and I don't know why it's all jumbled in my head. I guess I got so much stuff going on right now. So yeah, that's awesome to me how they could take something from the old movies and still find a way to weave it in to the continuity and everything, and make it a character that we all know, love, like, or at least we know him, right? So that's cool. And with Rogue One, they did similar things. Saw Gerrera, a lot of people don't realize, Forrest Whitaker's character in Rogue One is from the Clone Wars, before he's like half robotic or whatever. And also, I hear he's going to be popping up on Rebels. They talked about that in the panel too. He's going to be popping up on Rebels, to be the Saw Gerrera we know better, that one, like, closer to the one we saw in Rogue One. So he's gonna pop up on Rebels season 4. So I mean, that's awesome to me. And now also in Rogue One, the ship they use in Rebels, the Ghost, is in the space battle scene at the end over Scarif, and you hear General Hera or Captain Hera over the loudspeaker. Hera is also one of the main characters from Rebels. So they're weaving all this connective tissue in, and I love it. Now, with Clone Wars, I went on way too long. I really wish that Clone Wars was like 4 seasons. One of these days, I'm going to go through Clone Wars and just pick out the essential episodes and put them together in my own, however many seasons it works out to. I want to do the same thing with Rebels because I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard I wait till they're over and I binge them. But I heard that Rebels has a lot of throwaway episodes too. But now with Clone Wars, they had that connective tissue stuff, but it was easier for them to do because they were dealing with younger versions of characters we were already familiar with, who already had a little bit of backstory. So it was much easier for them to weave that stuff in Clone Wars. I love that they're doing it with Rebels, because now you're dealing with people who are brand new to continuity to the Star Wars universe, and this gives it a through line rather than just having silly cameos in the animated show. They actually have stuff from the animation showing up in the live action movies, and that's what's exciting to me because that weaves it all together. And that, not that I had any doubts before, but that reaffirms my feeling that when we do get Star Wars live action TV shows, which we will very soon, I'm sure of it, D23, I'm sure we'll get announcements about that. That those are going to be in continuity also, and they'll be weaving things in and out of those as well. So I'm really, really excited for the way that they're rewriting the canon and weaving in all this continuity. Because look, the old, now it's called the Legends canon, all the old books and comics and stuff that tied in to Star Wars, it was great for its time. But these things never really reappeared in movies or showed back up, or there wasn't a real continuity through line because that's just what they had to work with, and that's fine because that's what it was in the 70s, 80s, 90s. We didn't have all this, right? But now that they're able to go back and rewrite some continuity and make some characters prevalent and important characters that weren't important before, I love that. And to me, it just makes what Star Wars is doing so special because even Marvel, who does a great job at running a cinematic universe, there's a lot of loose threads dangling here and there around Marvel. And with Star Wars, even though it wasn't meant to be this big, huge universe, there seems to be less as they're going now with, since the Disney acquisition, and now that they're really building something huge, more than just this franchise about the Skywalkers, they're building something more. So since that's been happening, they've really, really stepped it up, and they're even loose threads that were dangling, they're tying them up. I guarantee you, by the time we're done with episode 9 and all the spin-offs that are coming out in between, we're going to have almost no loose threads dangling in the Star Wars universe. And I love that. And I really wish companies like DC and Marvel and Universal with their monster movie thing they're doing, I really hope they find a way to take a little inspiration from what Star Wars is doing with their continuity and their world building, and take a couple of those notes and say, you know what, we can do this, and make it work and flesh it all out to where it all feels like a real lived in real universe. And I love it. All right, that's it for this video. Just wanted to harp in on that continuity thing and the canon thing that came really because of the little news, that was the little bit of information we got from Celebration. So that's it for this vid. Sound off down below. You know the drill. I'm not going to say it on this one. Thanks for watching for the 18th time. I hope you enjoyed the video. That's it for this one. You guys have a great day, and I will see you next time.